On Friday, May 6, 2022, 23-year-old Alice Wood and her boyfriend, 24-year-old Ryan Watson, got into an argument. They had just left a party and were in a parking lot outside of their home. The argument was about Ryan's chemistry with another woman at the party. Emotions were swelling and anger was boiling as Alice got into her car to drive off. Suddenly, she swerves the car towards Ryan and accelerated. This is the devastating story of Alice Wood and Ryan Watson. Before we dive into the story, if you're into true crime or dark stories like this one, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to make sure you catch the next video. Also, feel free to drop a comment down below. I truly love hearing from viewers. On that night on May 6, Ryan Watson and his girlfriend of several years, Alice Wood, were attending a birthday party. It was for a client of the charity where Ryan worked. Ryan was a support worker at Headway, which provides services and support to those with brain injuries. He knew practically everyone at this party. Ryan was a guy with a big personality. He was charismatic, bubbly, and fun-loving. He loved helping other people. He loved animals, especially dogs, and was always a natural at any kind of sport. He also loved music and hanging out with his friends. And that night, Ryan was in his natural element, socializing, dancing to music, and chatting up the other guests at the party. He perhaps, in his zest for socializing that night, might have left his girlfriend, Alice Wood, a little out in the cold. She didn't really know anyone at this party. Alice Wood was a beautiful woman. She was also a very bright and very gifted, hardworking student, so justifiably proud of her achievements. She even got her excellent grades tattooed on her arm. She was a student of philosophy at the University of Manchester and even earned a scholarship to study for her master's degree at Cambridge. She had such a bright and promising future. Friends described her as somewhat more reserved than Ryan. No one had ever known her to be quick to anger before. Ryan and Alice were sitting at a table at the party that night. They were enjoying themselves as they sat together. But also sitting at this table was another woman named Tiffany. Ryan, being the outgoing party guest, engaged in a lively conversation with Tiffany. Observers later described Alice Wood as appearing cold, unhappy, and uncomfortable, clearly displeased with her boyfriend's focus on the other woman. She was pretty much left out of the conversation. Tiffany would also later say that she felt like she was being stared at by Alice. Considering the dynamics between Ryan and Tiffany, she would also later say that she couldn't blame Alice for being jealous. Tiffany had left the party before Alice and Ryan. However, she did receive several missed Instagram calls from an account with the name Rye. When she tried to call it back, there was no answer. She also messaged the account, "Who's this?" but received no response. The following is video surveillance of the parking lot that night. You can see the deadly game of chicken caught on camera. Alice and Ryan left the party around 11 p.m. Both had been drinking extensively that night. They got into Ryan's car and headed toward their home. They parked in a car park near their residence in Cheshire. They were in a heated argument about Ryan's interest in Tiffany. The argument escalated at their home, and with Alice getting into her own car to leave. Here, in a reenactment of the video we just saw, we can see Alice reversing her car towards Ryan and almost hitting him. Then she drove towards Ryan again, causing him to fall to the ground. Finally, Alice drove toward Ryan a third and final time, hitting him and causing him to go under the vehicle. Alice continues to drive down Sandback Road for 524 feet before finally stopping. Discovering her boyfriend trapped under the car, Alice knocked on a neighbor's door, asking her, "Please phone an ambulance. I think I've run over my boyfriend." When the police arrive, she is arrested. A neighbor gives police his account of what happened.
My wife called me, said it was an accident. I came down to have a look and there was no pulse. About 10 minutes ago, there was a young lady in our house. She walked outside now with us, and she said to my wife and myself that she's the driver. They had an argument, and she drove over him.
Right, okay, so Alice, based on the circumstance that we found out already, okay, I'm going to arrest you on... No, listen to me, okay, I'm going to arrest you on suspicion of murder, okay, so you don't have to say anything, but my own defence, you don't mention now, something's later on in court. Anything you do, so maybe we know.
It was reported later that she told police, "It's fine, I deserve it." Alice Wood faced trial in December 2023. When it came time to tell her side of the story, Alice would tell the court that after she and Ryan arrived home, their argument erupted. She said that Ryan turned the tables and accused her of flirting with other men. She thought he had taken her phone, so she couldn't call her parents to pick her up. She also said that he grabbed her by the hair extensions, held her over a gas stove, with his hand on the ignition switch, threatening to turn it on. She also said he threatened to have her mother killed. She states that it was then that she decided to get in her own car and leave. She said she only wanted to scare Ryan and chose to swerve toward him in the car. He had scared her inside the house, and she wanted him to feel the same way she did. When Ryan got knocked down by her car, she said she was surprised, but then she saw him get back on his feet. As she was driving down Sandback Road, she said the car was not accelerating normally, and when she got out of the car to investigate, she found Ryan under the car. It was an actual nightmare. She failed a breathalyzer test and was arrested. Her phone was found in Ryan's car. During the trial, the prosecutor claimed that Alice, under the influence, turned her car into a weapon, causing Ryan's death. According to them, she intentionally drove into Ryan Watson, knocking him under the front end of the vehicle. Witnesses in the nearby Chinese food takeaway reported hearing a life-threatening scream. On Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024, Alice Wood was unanimously found guilty of murder. Judge Michael Leeming told her there is only one sentence that the law allows, and that is life imprisonment. Ryan Watson's family issued a statement.
We are grateful today that we got justice for Ryan. It's been so hard to watch the CCTV footage of our son getting hit by the car over and over again, then dragged up the road, trapped underneath the car. I can't imagine how Ryan was scared at that time. The one person Ryan trusts the most was the person who took his life in such a violent way. I am living in a nightmare knowing that my son's moments, his last moments, were so brutal. We saw the CCTV footage of Ryan at the party that night, and we are so proud to see him being such a gentleman to everyone, helping an old lady who had fell over. He was the life and soul of the party that night. Alice is in prison where she belongs, so she can't do this to anyone else. No sentence will ever be long enough for what she has taken from us, and Ryan will never get to live his life and fulfill his dreams.
That night on May 6, 2022, Ryan's life was tragically taken away from him. I can't even imagine what it must be like for his family and all who loved him. And now that she's been found guilty, Alice's life is over now as well. They were two young adults at the start of their life, both full of so much potential, and now that is all gone. It really speaks to how fragile each of our lives are, that in a moment of anger, it can all be so devastatingly lost.